Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And Hurry Up Tomorrow.
The movie. Yeah, by idiot The Weeknd, who has a bigger ego than his movie could ever be.
Well, it didn't do very well this weekend, but on the other hand, Final Destination Bloodlines absolutely blew out domestic and international box office. 50 million domestically, over 100 million total after international box office. I talked a little bit about it on my morning show, but we'll go into it briefly, and then we'll get into all the pop culture and other news of the day.
Yes, politics.
Go
So
ahead.
start?
Yeah. Awkward pauses are always good.
Okay, so The Weeknd's Hurry Up Tomorrow gets booed off stage after a dismal box office debut. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I keep asking. It's a new channel. We're trying to grow it. We have a secondary channel called Nat and the Guy Espanol. That's where the majority of
Espanol, yes.
That's where the majority of our base is. Thanks for correcting me, and you can continue.
You're welcome. So apparently, Hurry Up Tomorrow did not so good. Currently, it's sitting at 13% Rotten Tomatoes score, and it just has a reported budget of 15 million, but it's only made 3.3.
Okay, yeah, this ended up being a horrible movie. People are just clipping this thing online, talking about the Weeknd's acting ability, that it's almost non-existent. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 0% from 14 critics reviews. I've never seen that.
And then 15% audience, right?
No? 13% audience score.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even lower.
You said 50?
15.
Oh, 15.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 13 or 15. I think it's maybe gone up now. More people might have seen it, but it's an absolute disaster. I guess we could have expected that. The Weeknd actually wrote the script as well.
Yeah, and it's apparently tied into his album that I think is called the same thing, right?
Yeah, exact same thing.
And it's just an ego boost for him. And he's tried to do it before with the series The Idol that also did horribly. So it's not a surprise that his movie was bad and that he can't act, because most people knew that from that ego boosting series he did as well about a musician. It's all about him and how he's a musician, and all his characters are essentially just him.
Yeah, but if you're going to have a failing movie, this is literally the best kind of failing movie you're going to have. And I'll kind of implicate Jenna Ortega here. This movie's going to bomb. Usually this would hurt your career, but nobody's even seen the movie. So I don't think it's really going to hurt her career. Unlike Snow White with Rachel Zegler.
Yeah.
Everybody knew about that. That was in the headlines. Nobody went to watch it. So it's a different kind of bomb. So overall, I think she'll be able to continue on, no problem.
And I think with Jenna Ortega also, I mean, the discussion we have to continue to have is that she keeps calling herself a Latina, and she's not. She's American. And I've done a video in Spanish about it. And I think...
well, can't there be American Latinos or no?
No.
Why not?
Because then they're American. If they were born in America, they're American.
Okay. Well, I'm not. I don't know. I'm what I am.
That's what I say. But I mean, I just think they should stop throwing money at this guy. They've already seen he can't act. This is the second time they see he can't act, and I just think most people, if not already, will eventually get tired of his ego-driven pursuits, and it's just clearly all about him, me. And people get bored of that eventually.
Yeah, but I think what they're thinking is Marvels are kind of busting. These classic IPs are busting, so maybe they want to move over to musicians that have built-in audiences. That would make sense, and that did work with Lady Gaga a lot.
Kind of.
So the problem is The Weeknd. I think he does have a huge fan base, but the problem is with him, he can't act.
Or write, or
they should have done some kind of screen testing or something else, but he's got probably such a big ego, he can't take criticism in a screen test.
And he had a whole screen test of that series that also bombed and nobody watched and everybody was criticizing a few years ago. So just remember that.
Okay, let's go into the next one, because we did cover these first two stories in the morning. We kind of like to talk a little bit of movie pop culture news to begin with, to get past the YouTube censorship before we get into politics.
Yes, so box office, Final Destination Bloodlines scares up 51 million debut. The Weeknd's Hurry Up Tomorrow misfires with 3.3 million.
Okay, so Final Destination Bloodlines did phenomenal. Like I thought it was going to do well based on the pre-sales, but this is way beyond anybody's expectations. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's seen it, that's reviewed it, I haven't seen it yet, but people that I do trust within the cultural space, like Film Threat, had said this is the best Final Destination they had seen. So
And usually those movies are more of a punchline or just to, watch something when there's literally nothing on or just to see the ridiculousness of it. But I think it also, same as I've been saying in Spanish, at least with Mission Impossible, it exemplifies this need from the audience to see things that are just movies with no messaging, no intricate, boring plot lines, no empowered female characters, and with some male characters still in them.
Well, and for a horror movie, this is the right kind of horror movie. Sometimes you can just zone out, but with this, you're really always thinking and trying to think ahead, ruin the movie for yourself. Like, when's somebody going to die? How are they going to die? So it really keeps you on the edge of your seat in a very unique way. So, okay, let's go into some actual other news that we didn't cover this morning now.
Yes. So you had this on about men woke fishing.
Yeah, why don't you read the...
So this is from Dazed, which is a very leftist publication, but men are woke fishing women by pretending to be feminists on dating apps. Another very cool, very normal trend to contend with. And obviously this is sarcastic, but it says, as if dating wasn't hard enough amid a global pandemic. So this is from global bad times. This is from those times. More effed up trends are emerging. If ghosting, breadcrumbing, and catfishing weren't enough for you, now there's woke fishing when men pretend to be feminists on dating apps in order to trick women into dating them. Cool. Coined by Vice, of course, by Vice journalist Serena Smith, the word refers to men who supposedly hold liberal views. They attend BLM protests, are clued up on the climate crisis, and are pro-alphabet community, feminist, and anti-Brexit. But really, they're just annoying. Their actual opinions tend to emerge weeks, months, or even years into the relationship, which unsurprisingly often
it's one thing if you're going to try to get laid on a one-night stand or something like that, but if you're in a relationship for years and you're trying to keep up this charade, that seems difficult to me, number one. But number two, when I was first thinking about this, I was like, man, what happens if the girl gets pregnant? Then you're stuck with this woke liberal. But then I was like, oh no, they'll just get an abortion. Yes. Because they're so progressive.
Of course. But then at the same time, like, why would you endure that? And also, it's not like leftists and feminists are the most attractive women out there. So,
well, I think what maybe they're thinking is the other option is you go conservative. Conservative women aren't going to be as easy as liberals.
They have higher standards.
And they're looking for an actual dating relationship. Well, liberal chicks are maybe just looking to get laid.
But then apparently they end up with them for months, weeks, years. So why?
And these aren't really conservative guys that are doing this, I would think. No. If a conservative guy is doing that, he's not conservative. It's just kind of average young guys that have figured it out. Beta males are stepping all over their dicks, so they'll just lie to these chicks and get laid anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I just go live an actual traditional life and be happy. Go meet a woman at a church.
Well, that's not always an option in a lot of countries and things like that. So
or stop using dating apps.
We live here in Mexico. Maybe it's a little bit different. And I think in Canada, not the U.S., but like Asian countries, Mexican countries, South American countries, relationships, dating is a lot different than in America and Canada.
Yeah, because they've at least tried to conserve or keep some semblance of how it used to be and how natural things should be usually.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go into the next story. Just leave her. She'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh, no, she's getting up now.
Our dog.
Okay. Oh, this one was good. She got thirsty.
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we set this one
up?
It's
hot in Mexico right now.
We're in Mexico right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. She's drinking water. It's been hot weather.
Okay. So Kash Patel here talks about the border issue. And he said this was actually quite revealing, even though he didn't say much. He said enough where the Mexican president and the Mexican government has really helped and assisted shutting down the southern border. And they're happy with that, it sounds like. But Canada is completely the opposite. And he's kind of calling them out here. So,
Trying to do it so we don't get issues.
Okay, let's play.
In the first 2-3 months that we've been in the seat under Donald Trump's administration, he has sealed the border. He has stopped border crossings. So where's all the fentanyl coming from still? Where's the trafficking coming from still? Where are all the narco traffickers going to keep bringing this stuff into the country? The northern border. Our adversaries have partnered up with the CCP and others, Russia, Iran, on a variety of different criminal enterprises, and they're going and they're sailing around to Vancouver and coming in by air. And the sheer tyranny of distance of the northern border and the lack of cooperation from federal authorities in prior administrations to actually firm up that northern border is what's causing a continuation of violent crime. Now, we're focused on it, and we're calling our state and local law enforcement partners up there. But you know who has to get to step in is Canada, because they're making it up there and shipping it down here. And I don't care about getting into this debate about making someone the 51st state or not, but they are our partner in the north. And say what you want about Mexico, but they helped us seal the southern border. The facts speak for themselves. The border that's open, I'll give you a statistic that I gave to Congress that nobody was paying attention to. Over 300 known or suspected terrorists crossed into this country last year illegally. Known or suspected terrorists, not illegals. Not just illegals, known or suspected terrorists. 85% of them came in through the northern border. Wow. This year, 100 known.
Yeah, none of that really surprises me. Canada wants to put on this big image and everything else, but it's wide open up there. And there's crime in Canada acts a lot different. It's completely organized. You have all kinds of international organized crime syndicates and things like that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really boil over to basic street crime and things like that. So it's very interesting how that works. Being that it is so organized, there's definitely a pipeline of all kinds of things coming through. Mm. So.
Yeah. And I mean, we also see how it affects Canada. And of course, it doesn't appear there magically. Someone also has to transport it up there. And I mean, of course, if it's an easier way in than through now the Mexican border, of course, they're going to be bringing it down from there too.
Yeah, well, they bring it into the ports, usually in Toronto or Canada, and then they bring it down through the highway system. So. Okay, let's go into the next. Oh, I just grabbed this when you were doing your show. Sometimes I grab stories. So this is a pretty interesting headline.
This one?
Yeah.
So Black people, brown people, and Asians are uniting to prevent white students from entering campus. So this is a video. That's what they're commenting on.
The other side of this, and the kids are just getting riled up. Now watch the way this one little girl runs up to this white guy who's trying to get through. I mean, what is her end game here? Is she looking to start a fight? What's going on? Look at that. They are getting offended because people actually just want to go about their day.
And pause it. This is like, these are kind of protests are absolutely ridiculous, and the fact that you're doing racial division like this just shows you where the climate of the United States and a lot of other Western countries is. This wouldn't be acceptable if it was the other way around, so it shouldn't be acceptable this way around either. But they've completely tried to redefine what racism is.
And it's been happening for years and years
yeah.
now. I mean, we remember Brett Weinstein. It was basically this, what they were doing to him as well. And that was, 2017, 2016?
Well, I can even understand if they've been brainwashed so much that they think the Trump administration they can't do anything. They're losing control maybe. But you're taking it on your fellow students and stuff here, not the administration.
Well, that's who they've been told to target.
Who? The other students?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's who the leadership of whatever these protests are. And the leadership is actually responsible for any kind of violence that does happen. So if you have racist policies at your
campus,
at the protest itself, the organizers and the leaders may be responsible for hate speech and things like this. So yeah, there's actually big responsibilities for the people that are organized in these protests. And we've seen that because the one was deported based on he was the organizer. Okay, let's continue to play.
Something queer.
I'm telling you, this is bigger than you. This is about white dicks. This is not about you. We don't care about you.
So these guys are talking to this one kid that, hey, it doesn't matter that you didn't do anything. We're not letting you through because we have a perceived slight against us. Therefore, we must punish everybody who looks like you. That, guys, is racist. So after the group announced that they were racist to the world, they decided to
fight for queer and trans something.
Move things to the student store where they could announce that they're stupid too.
Oh no, I can't go in the store.
Spaces.
Okay, we can pause it.
Students bring the profit, you idiots.
We kind of got the idea of what's
You
going
are
on
the
here.
cash cows for these institutions you are so proud to attend and then be indoctrinated by.
Okay, now what you really want to notice here is what happens in academia typically spreads out to the regular world, and it takes a little while. But if they're having things like this where they're not letting a sort of race of people into a store or an institution, I would expect to see this kind of protest expand from here. So.
And it already has. Again, it's been happening since 2016 with Brett Weinstein, for example, and Heather Hying.
No, not really, because...
And during the BLM era, they wouldn't let white students go into campus either. There were videos about
yeah,
that
but
as well.
I'm talking about spreading beyond campus into the actual world. And because it's a lot of white liberal women, they typically let them into their spaces. I'll expect to not even let them in at some point. So...
Maybe.
Okay, let's continue
They'll
on.
find a way to make themselves the victims, though.
And I didn't know if you... Oh, good, you did. So I was just watching Rebel News today, and Rebel News is a close supporter of Tommy Robinson. They've raised money for his legal defense. They've the ones that have really petitioned the court to kind of get this hearing and stuff like this. Why don't we read about it?
So Tommy Robinson's latest bid to lower contempt sentence to be heard at High Court tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Robinson, who is currently due to be released on July 26, is now due to apply to purge his contempt at a hearing on Tuesday, which could secure his earlier release.
Okay, and he is expected to get it out. It's just a shame that he has to go in front of the court and kind of roll over. And he basically has to say to the court he's learned his lesson. He's not going to do it again. He's going to comply with all the orders. If you don't know why he was originally locked up, he is now serving the longest sentence for any journalist for publishing a story within the UK. He published his documentary, which told the truth about the grape gangs in the UK specifically. And the broader context is it's happening in the EU as well. The UK government was not happy with that information getting out. They said it was a lie. It obviously wasn't a lie, but they locked him up for it anyway. He's going to have to say he's going to take down the video, and he's not going to publish any further hate speech and things like that. So he is expected to get out tomorrow. Ezra Levant from Rebel News is currently flying over to England. He's going to stay there for 7 days because he's expecting Robinson to get out at this point.
And now that there's more and more evidence and the UK government is kind of not able to keep up with how much mounting evidence there's been for the past 20-something years, and the people and the victims and the witnesses and the police officers that were also complicit with covering it up are starting to come out and kind of tired of having to keep covering it up. The UK government keeps looking worse and worse, and they're trying to quell it, silence it, focus on immigration, and Keir Starmer talking about how they're going to stop immigration now.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point right there. Keir Starmer just a few days ago had completely switched his whole stance. Before, he was completely for mass immigration, no borders, let's give immigrants free housing, free money, free everything, and let's lock up Tommy Robinson for the longest any journalist has ever been locked up for reporting a story that now Keir Starmer not only believes, but he's representing that those are his core values, and he's willing to deport everybody. And that's not the case, but he can't have Tommy Robinson locked up if he says he actually wants what Tommy Robinson wants.
Yes.
I hope Tommy Robinson calls him out when he gets out, but there's going to be stipulations on his release.
Yes, they're not going to let him go so easy. And they're going to keep an eye on him as well. So anything he tries to publish.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's move on here. And after this, most of these are more what you would say...
Clips?
Not just clips, but bigger issues that we can talk about in general. And that's why I kind of put these stories on here.
Okay. So you put this in here.
Yeah, just read the opening thing before it says number one, and then we'll go into the clip, I guess.
So this is from Wide Awake Media. Dr. Patrick Moore, co-founder of Greenpeace, breaks down the 3 things you need to know to know that there is no climate crisis.
And that being said, these are just 3 points, whether you agree with them or not, but there are literally hundreds of points, and there is a ton of data showing this climate crisis, which used to be called global warming, which the globe stopped warming, so now they're calling it climate change, climate crisis, whatever they want to call it. And this is just a bunch of propaganda from governments that wants to really control the people through taxation and things like this of the climate.
Well, and is there variations in weather patterns? Does the climate change Yes. Has there been irregularities lately that we weren't aware of because it hasn't happened during our lifetimes? Yes. But the climate alarmism is the main thing that I think is
in
an
one
issue.
of the largest cooling periods in recent history, so I don't know.
But that still falls under climate change. What I'm saying is it's the alarmist view and all of the policy changes and all of the green initiatives that they're trying to pass or have passed that are the problem.
Well, and all these captured studies, the way they're funded, the way academia has been captured as well. You've only had one kind of science that's really out there. They say 99% of scientists agree, and that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
They're just silencing the other half. Okay, let's go with this clip. And remember, was one of the co-founders of Greenpeace.
There are three things you need to know that this whole thing about the climate change disaster or catastrophe or emergency is false. First, it is not too hot now. It is one of the coldest periods in the history of the Earth. That's why there's all that ice on the poles, which it wasn't there. For 150 million years before this ice age, there was no ice anywhere on this Earth because it was warmer, much warmer than it is today. Second, CO2 is lower now in the atmosphere than it has been throughout nearly the entire history of the Earth. Right now it's at 420. During the most recent glacial maximum, it went down to 180 parts per million, which is not far above the death of plants, because plants don't just need CO2, they need a certain concentration of it. And even at 420, it is still nowhere near.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of people may not know this, but there's more greenery on the Earth's surface than there has been in the last few hundred years. The amount of carbon humans are releasing into the atmosphere has actually helped growing trees, which has actually helped fighting carbon. So,
but at the same time, there's been a lot of logging and a lot of loss of forests.
Yeah, but you're incorrect. The amount of I don't know if you looked at the maps. The amount of greenery that's on the Earth's surface right now is absolutely insane, even with the logging. It's insane.
What about the destruction of more than half the Amazon, for example?
Yeah, there's greenery growing all around the globe, not just in the Amazon.
I know, but shouldn't we protect all the ecosystems and not just make sure that there's green stuff somewhere?
What are you talking about, ecosystems?
The ecosystem of the Amazon is completely unique to the Amazon. So the more it's been destroyed,
okay, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Stop destroying the Amazon?
Okay.
Near the optimum level for plants. It should be 800, 1200, and then you start getting a much lusher vegetation all over the world. And already the greening of the Earth, as a result of our emissions of CO2, is 30% increased growth in the lush areas in the world. And the third thing you need to know is that all the CO2 that we are putting into the atmosphere, where did it come from? How did it get in the fossil fuels? By plants pulling it out of the atmosphere and the oceans. The plankton in the sea, the vegetation on the land, turned into coal, oil, and gas, and were lost from the air and the oceans. So all we're doing is replacing carbon dioxide. If there wasn't enough CO2
that's good. And also we have to realize there's over, I think it was 100 billion tons of ice grown this year in the Arctic. So the Arctic Circle is actually regrowing, which a lot of people don't know. It's kind of been a big topic of conversation on social media as of late. That is the Earth actually cooling again after we've been sold climate alarmism through the globe heating up.
But I mean, I think that's also why they changed it to climate change instead of climate warming or global warming or whatever they used to call it.
Yeah, but their whole thing looks fraudulent now because for decades and decades it was global warming, and people are calling them out that they've changed it to climate change. And their climate change stats aren't really adding up either because they're trying to say forest fires and things like this, but this is just from bad forest management and things of this nature.
And I think the main takeaway, I guess, is the capture of the scientific community, the elites, the academics, the studies that aren't allowed to be published, the differing opinions that aren't allowed to come out there, or that when they are, the scientist is either canceled or their credentials are taken away because it's going against the main narrative that helps impose a lot of policies and make a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah, but it is starting to come out now. Politicians are starting to talk about it a lot. Politicians are actually going against the green agenda. It depends what country you're in, but at least there's the pushback now. The scientists that were being silenced before are now coming out on social media, and they have platforms because independent media is so big. They just can't be denied anymore. When this first green hoax was coming up, there was not these alternative platforms. If they were extremely small. Now that they're so big, their voices are really amplified. Why don't we play the next clip? It's related to the first clip, and this is Nigel Farage from the UK. I believe this is a little bit older of a clip, but I just wanted to play it to show politicians are talking about it, and the politicians that are talking about it are the ones coming into power.
Whole net zero agenda that's being pursued. Boris went absolutely full pelt for it. Labour are still on that track. The Tories are now saying, well, we won't do it all tomorrow. We'll wait till the day after. And frankly, the whole thing is about charging us more money. The whole thing is about controlling our life and our behaviours. And in terms of the environment, it makes absolutely almost no difference whatsoever. The whole...
And yeah, that's when politicians are coming out and saying it, and they don't have this unifying line between all the scientists and all the politicians. Their narrative really breaks. It's almost impossible for them to keep up this charade anymore. So, although Canada is trying.
Yes.
Okay, we can go into the next story. Yeah.
Hillary Clinton?
Yeah.
So this is from Benny Johnson. Apparently Hillary Clinton attacks the Trump administration for encouraging Americans to have more children, saying that that's what criminal aliens are for and why they shouldn't be deported.
As I posted the other day, this very blatant effort to basically send a message, most exemplified by Vance and Musk and others, that, you know, what we really need from you women are more children. And what that really means is you should go back to doing what you were born to do, which is to produce more children. And they're talking about, you know, cash benefits for the more children you have. This has been tried, by the way, in other countries, and it has not worked. Or medals if you have 6 children. While they're contemplating cutting Medicaid.
You can pause it for a moment. And it has been tried in places like Hungary and Russia, and it is working. It not only stopped the decline of the basic population, but it's producing 2.1 children per family at least. And from there, they can implement other strategies now to get the population rate to go actually up in reverse. Everything she's talking about here, and she'll kind of say it in a minute, is this is right-wing propaganda, or this is the right-wing dream. Well, it doesn't sound so bad to me. All the things she's talking about, it's like, come on, what is her alternate solution? Boss babe? Get another job, work 5 jobs, have no kids, die unhappy, have no legacy?
I mean, that's what she had 1 kid that's insufferable.
While they have no interest in paid family leave or funding quality child care, they're cutting Head Start. I mean, you go down the list of all the programs that support child rearing and the care of children and create, you know, some safety net for women who are in the workforce, the formal workforce, as well as, you know, raising children. So this is another performance about concerns they allegedly have for family life. But if you had read the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, despite Trump saying he knew nothing about it, if you had read it, it's all in there. It's all in there. Return to the family, the nuclear family, return to being a Christian nation, return to, you know, producing a lot of children, which is sort of odd because the people who produce the most children in our country are immigrants, and they want to deport them. So none of this adds up. But, you know, one of the reasons why our economy did so much better than comparable advanced economies across the world is because we actually had a replenishment, because we had a lot of immigrants legally and undocumented.
Okay, pause that. Yeah, her strategy is let's get immigrants rather than have children, because immigrants can
I can't say it on YouTube.
Can be controlled,
yeah.
and they'll vote for Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Who had a larger than normal by American standards family. So this is just another one of their, make America great again by returning to the lifestyles and the economic arrangements of not just the 1950s. I mean, let's keep going back as far as we can and, see what happens. So,
you mean when the nation was actually built?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong back then when one man could earn an income and actually buy a house and have a family, and the wife could stay home and not work, and that was actually an option. Today, that's not even an option. Both people have to work because they won't be able to financially survive in today's economy.
Yes.
So she wants to take away choice. And I was talking to you the other day about this, and I was suggesting, well, they want to bring in digital currency and everything. Why don't they do it in a way people will actually accept it? Like, keep your regular currency, bring in a digital currency, and you can pay women if they do stay home with that digital currency that will be completely programmable for food and household items, which keeps the money internalized into the United States. And then you still have your regular dollar that's earned by whatever parent wants to work outside of the household. And that way the kids can be raised. You're implementing, like, you're not telling a woman she can't work. You're saying, well, you can work from home, especially now in today's economy. Most jobs are digitalized. We know this from COVID and things like this. So
from the bad times. Yeah, I mean, and I just think they're saying things and they're talking about all these plans and, they want to cut Medicare, but they also don't talk about the other solutions that are being given and the alternatives and the reasons why a lot of these programs are being cut and the waste and the mismanagement that they've had for years and years and years by Democrats. So, of course, she's going to point out, they want to get rid of all of your safety nets and all of the things that help you stay healthy and have a family, but she's not mentioning that a lot of those programs have been misused, let's just say.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Yeah, it's not just Doge uncovering massive waste in these organizations like Planned Parenthood and things like that, which you did a video on the other day. But Planned Parenthood does not give alternative options. Their primary option is to do away with unborn children and things like this. J.D. Vance and Trump want to open up facilities that are pro-birth, meaning you can if you don't want the child, you can give it up for adoption. If you do want to keep it, there'll be funding for you for diapers and other things, and financial support as well if you do want to keep the baby. So
pregnancy resource centers.
Ending the unborn child's life an absolute last resort like it used to be, not the first resort.
And also, I mean, it's not fully going back to the 1950s because everybody knows that that's essentially impossible right now, but it's finding ways to center different values than the ones that have been given to the population for the past 20-something years that have led to such a dismal decline in population numbers, and also in life expectancy has also kind of gone down in the States, and the way that people relate to each other and communities are built in schools and education and etc.
Yeah, well, the Democrats want to bring in a lot of immigrants so they can use the immigrants up and spit them out when they're done. They don't have to build as much infrastructure for families in the next generation. They can increase the divide between the rich and the poor and things like this. So when you're really thinking about internal citizens building their own population, building their own next generation, you have to build the sustainable infrastructure, and there's not as much to take from that civilian population. And the population, generation after generation, hands down their values, hands down their politics, and it's a lot harder to take from the masses when it's a strong, independent, nationalistic population.
And manipulate them.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue to go.
Rafa says hello, so hello, Rafa. Thank you for being here.
I'm a little bit low energy tonight.
Why? I bored you with my
one story about
the boat. Yeah. Well, I thought it was important. And then you have something about breast milk.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh, the breast milk will wake me up. Is this the breast milk video?
Yes.
Okay, it's very
I
interesting.
haven't seen it.
It has some music, so
I do know quite a bit about breast milk.
we'll pause it
surprisingly.
periodically so that we don't get hit with the copyright.
Sure.
I've always wondered, what's inside human breast milk? Well, I thought it would be like pasteurized cow's milk. They both look like a white solution and they are both milk, right? And if we look at pasteurized cow's milk
you
under a
can pause it?
microscope,
And this is pasteurized cow's milk, not raw cow's milk. And Rafa's here. I know he likes raw cow milk. So do I. So let's continue to watch.
well, it looks like this. It contains lipids and water, so that makes sense. So therefore, human breast milk must be the same. Oh, nope, my mistake. They are different. Human breast milk is not the same as pasteurized cow's milk because if you take a look at human breast milk under a microscope, you will notice something very unusual. The human breast milk has not been pasteurized, and it contains larger lipids that form almost like bubbles. And the most spectacular thing is that human breast milk contains live immune cells called maternal leukocytes. These help protect a human baby from germs like bacteria. This is because
And he's about to go into it, but basically it helps build up a baby's immune system, which is good.
Yes. And if a baby's sick or has some sort of illness going around, the mother actually starts producing cells that can fight against it through breast milk.
Yeah.
So breast milk for each individual baby, each individual woman at each individual time is going to be different. I know quite a bit of that.
Well, and then also powdered milk should be an absolute last resort.
I'm going to talk about that.
It's almost like giving a baby poison.
But I'm going to talk about it in a second.
a baby doesn't have a fully developed immune system, and so it needs a bit of a boost. Human breast milk also contains special proteins and very specific amounts of nutrients. This is all suited for a human baby's digestive system. Cow's milk, pasteurized or raw, is just not the same. If it's pasteurized, well, the milk won't have any immune cells for the baby. And even if it did, the cow's milk is just too concentrated with many nutrients, and this can damage a human baby's digestive system. So yeah, human breast milk. It hit.
Okay, that's pretty good. And I think Rafa had another comment there.
Okay, let me read Rafa's comment. Rafa says, speaking about milk, have you tried kefir? And you have, and I don't think you liked it as much as...
I
you did like it? I don't like it.
I had it 3 times now, but I need to mix Splenda with it. I like a sweetener in it. It's just a little bit too sour for me otherwise.
I don't like it.
Even though it's healthy.
I like Greek yogurt, but that's about
And
it.
I don't know how healthy it is because it's got to be pasteurized as well. So like...
well, it has more like lactobacillus and more good bacteria because it tends more towards like a yogurt type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more, not fermented, but processed in a more fermentation-y kind of way.
I think I would like it. It would be nice if they had raw milk and they made like a yogurt from it.
Well, kefir, I believe, is made out of goat's milk.
Yeah, but not raw goat's milk. It's pasteurized. The pasteurization process is what kills everything.
Yes, but I do think bacteria in that sense, in the process it has to go through, would be more damaging. There probably is unpasteurized one or like raw one, but I don't know how good it would be for you because you get sick all the time.
Why don't you talk about your powdered milk you want to talk about?
So yes, breast milk is very important. You cannot share breast milk because technically breast milk for each baby is made for that baby specifically by its mother because of their constant communication, both hormonal and through the baby transferring and passing through information essentially every time they're drinking milk from their mother. And what Nestle and a lot of other powdered milk companies did, especially in poorer countries, including Latin American countries, but also Africa, etc., was do this whole campaign around their powdered milk, saying how it was better, it gave the baby more nutrients, it was more pure, it was cleaner than breast milk, which is completely untrue, unless the mother has some very serious illness that is...
Like a jibby jab.
Yeah, or that. But powdered milk is essentially just fats and corn additives and high fructose corn syrup. It also has that. And a lot of it has been known to be contaminated as well by other particulates, which a mother's breast milk usually wouldn't be. But this whole campaign they did for years and years and years essentially made a lot of mothers, especially lower income mothers, who would benefit a lot from having to spend less by breastfeeding, even though they have to feed themselves. It is a better option for their children, also because of the way mother's milk is processed rather than powdered goop, what is essentially. And they've convinced so many women in especially poorer countries that their breast milk is not as good and is gross and is not seen as, pure and as, how do you call it, like, good manners. Like, it shouldn't be seen as having good manners to breastfeed in public, all of those things, which has actually lowered a lot of children's and babies' nutrition throughout all of these poorer countries. What are you doing?
Nothing. Okay, let's go on to the next story there. And this is a fat woman that
Should I do this one?
Why not?
Are we going to get targeted for bullying?
For who? Who am I bullying?
I don't know. The woman?
No. Okay, let's play it. And then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. Don't want to get...
So she was fat shamed in the Sonic parking lot by a bunch of teenagers, but you're really asking, she's blaming the teenagers for her emotional distress rather than blaming the milkshake. When the pain of shame can be a very powerful thing in society, sometimes it's needed. Maybe she should put down the milkshake. You don't agree with this?
I don't know.
What? You know what? Stay. It's okay if you need to go and get you a little ice cream from Sonic. It is okay. It's okay if you can't sit in your Sonic parking lot and enjoy your ice cream and you have to go find some random ass parking lot because the fucking...
Yeah, because of the music.
Because of the music.
And the swearing. But so essentially... She was bullied by teenagers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you can move on.
Well, I just think, she's obviously attention seeking because otherwise why would she film herself crying? Yeah. A lot of these women do that. And of course, the headline says this woman needs a friend. I agree with that. And yes, it's not great that teenagers are pointing it out, but at least I feel like it might be a good sign that teenagers are pointing it out because now the whole fear of cancel culture and stuff might be going away. But at the same time, this woman is clearly looking for the attention of being this massive size and of crying on camera.
If somebody doesn't say something at some point, you really do. Somehow she got here because nobody's probably said anything to her.
I'm sure someone said something. Come on, look at her. Okay. I'm sure someone said something. It's just they decide not to listen.
Okay, you can go into the next one if you want. That's going to be James Comey. And maybe this will be the last story of the day.
Oh, we're not going to RUMBLE?
We can if you want.
You tell me.
Whatever you want. Let's do this story.
So Donald Trump Jr. says, just James Comey casually calling for my dad to be removed from this earth. This is who the Dem media worships. Demented.
And they went to talk to him. He said he found this on the beach. I was going to bring it up because we missed the story, but then they did arrest him for questioning, and then they let him go.
So what is this story? Because I don't know it.
86 means to do away with somebody. Putting it politely for YouTube, and 47 is the 47th president. That's Donald Trump. If you don't know who James Comey is, he's the former head of CIA or FBI. I believe, or the attorney. Yeah. Anyway, he was part of the impeachment hoax that had a lot of false information and things like that. So it's interesting that he's the one putting that up there.
But do you think he meant it, or was it a
Well, he
mistake?
said he didn't, but it obviously wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't?
No.
Because I heard you listening to something about it, and he was trying to say that he just found it on the beach and thought it was funny to put it on his
that's
Instagram.
obviously what he's gonna. That's obviously what he's gonna say, so he doesn't get put in jail.
But then they still arrested him.
Just for questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they let
so
him
he
go.
wasn't as smart.
And then he went on CNN for an interview, so he was okay.
Was he victimizing himself?
I don't know. Are we done?
I don't know. You tell me.
Whatever you want. Do you want to go? Oh yeah, we're done for today.
We don't have a stories for Rumble? Oh, are you on BLE?
No, we're good for today.
Did I tire you with my
No, we're fine.
story?
Okay, I'll be back tomorrow in the morning at 12 p.m.
Yes. 12 p.m. Central Time. And me and Spanish at 8 p.m. Central Time, Mexico City, on our Spanish channel, and then back here at 9:15, hopefully this time.
Well, I'll be a little bit more high energy tomorrow. Today I'm just a little bit worn out. So, yeah.
Sure. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. And yes, we're not going to RUMBLE because we are late today because of me. Because I talked about a ship for too long. Have a good night.
Adios.